off at 5:10. Introducing your field for the Charles H. Russell Handicap. In the post-parade order, 1 is I'm a Little Nipper. She's by Gas Energy from the mare Quintas Nickel. California bred, racing for Dawn and Judy Brown, Vic and Sharon Casassa. Guy Brown, the trainer, and Tim Ducey rides at 113, 3 over the weight. Number 2 is John Frank's Hasty Pasty. She's by Flying Paster from Revered. Trained by Jack Van Berg and Casey Doyle, and Jack Kaenel has the call. 3 is Oh Wise One, a 3-year-old bay filly by Smartin from Oyon, Kentucky bred, racing for the DeMay Construction Company Incorporated, trained by Terry Knight and ridden by Joe Steiner, 1 over the weight at 114. 4, M&M Enterprises Country Wine. She's by Zamboni from the mare Carrie Mary, a California bred, trained by Terry Knight, ridden today by Ron Warren Jr. at 114. Wind Shear makes up number 5. She's by Fapiano from Ellie Milove, racing for George Couch III, trained by Leonard Shoemaker and Sergio Ledesma. Ron Hansen's in the boot at 115. Margaret's Native is number 6. She's by He's Our Native from Nagy Maggie, also a California bred, racing for Frank J. Gagliano, trained by Roger Pfeiffer. Roberto Gonzalez is the jockey at 113. That night, races for Nina Egbert and Art Gamblin by Knight's Choice from Fantasy Canyon. She's trained by Howard Belvoir and ridden by Van Belvoir at 111. The outside filly is Super Donna. Super Donna is by Clever Trick from Royal Donna, a Kentucky bred who races for the J.D. Stable, M. Baseman, and I and J. David. Debbie Clausen, the trainer, and Dallin Thomas rides, 5 over the weight at 115. That's the field for the Charles H. Russell Handicap at 6 furlongs. First 5 in, fighting on Margaret's Native, That Night, and Super Donna. Charles H. Russell Handicap, all in the gate. There they go. Margaret's Native going for the lead. Country Wine out second. Super Donna on the outside third. Oh Wise One between horses. Hasty Paster down at the rail. Then back to a Wind Shear on the outside with That Night. Down the back stretch they go on the lead between horses. Margaret's Native showing in front by a head. Middle of the racetrack, Super Donna is second. At the rail, Country Wine's in third. Right there, Wind Shear's in tight between horses. On the outside, That Night. It's Oh Wise One behind those. On the rail, Hasty Pasty, and the last horse is I'm a Little Nipper. On the turn, Margaret's Native leading 3/4 of a length. In second, Super Donna, Country Wine, Hasty Pasty moving up at the rail. She finds some room, going to be tough coming through on the inside. Margaret's Native keeps a short lead. Hasty Pasty on the inside, quickly to the front. Now gets 1 length. Margaret's Native back to second. It's Hasty Pasty now drawn out by 2.5 lengths. The battles for second. Hasty Pasty in front. Ladies and gentlemen, may we direct your attention to the winner's circle, presenting the trophy to the winning connections of today's Charles H. Russell Handicap, is the wife of the late Charles H. Russell, the man for whom this handicap is named. Charles H. Russell was the head of the California Thoroughbred Breeders Association and owned Middle Ranch in Carmel Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm welcome for Mrs. Charles H. Russell. In the winner's circle is number 2, Hasty Pasty, 5-year-old bay mare by Flying Paster from Revered, racing for John Franks, trained by Jack Van Berg and Casey Doyle, ridden to victory by Jack Kaenel in 109 2. It's official. Hasty Pasty first. That night second. 6. Margaret's Native finished third. 2-7 exact to $176. The horses are on the track, parading for the feature race. C.H.B.P.A. Invitational Handicap, 8th edition, 50 added, at 1 mile and 1/16. We have 5 going to post. In 11 minutes, we're off at 5:03. Introducing the field for the feature, 1 is Chief Terracotta by Wajima from Clint, Kentucky bred, racing for Marianne Eggety, trained by Steve Weiberg, and Joe Giudista is the riding at 117. 2 is Lee's Tanthem by Tanthem from Happy Holly, a Florida bred, racing for Rosalind Ganoy and Arparado. Jeff Bonde and Tommy Nelson, the trainers, and Ron Hansen is the jockey. Esker Island is number 3, a 4-year-old bay gelding by Aaron's Isle from Coxolo, a Kentucky bred, racing for Steve Davison and trained by Randy Gullatt. Ricky Frazier is the jockey at 116. Coax Me Clyde has been scratched. 5 is Sundacker by Hoedown's Day, a 4-year-old stud out of the mare Valida, racing for Mar D.H. Kidd, trained by Jerry Dutton and Guillermo J. Rangel, and the rider is Van Belvoir. 6 is Variety Road, 7-year-old bay stud by Kennedy Road from Variety Queen, a California bred, racing for Shell Cavalli, trained by Jerry Hollendorfer and Dale Bishop, and Ron Warren Jr. is the pilot, the weight 123. That's the field for the C.H.B.P.A. Invitational Handicap at 1 mile and 1/16. There's 10 minutes till post time. 3, Esker Island is in the starting gate at 4-1. Right next to him will be Sundecker. He's 15, and Variety Road is 8-5. That's the field for the feature race. All in the gate. There they go. Sundecker, middle of the racetrack, going to the front. It's Lee's Tanthem out second. Chief Terracotta gets third. Middle of the racetrack, that's Variety Road racing next. Esker Island will trail in the early going. Around the clubhouse turn. Sundecker going to show the way down at the rail by 2 open lengths. Lee's Tanthem is second by another 2. Chief Terracotta gets third. It's Variety Road racing in fourth, just a length back to Esker Island, who trails in the early going. Heading for the backstretch, Sundecker, he's quick and he takes a 3-length lead. Lee's Tanthem is second by the same margin to the third horse. Chief Terracotta's 2 off of him, 4 off the lead. It's Variety Road next by a neck. Esker Island moving up at the rail. Down the backstretch they go, and it's Sundecker showing the way by 2.5 lengths. Lee's Tanthem is second. Esker Island moving up at the rail, now into third. He went from third to last, and now on the outside, it's Chief Terracotta with the Variety Road now trailing. On the turn, Sundecker, Lee's Tanthem second, only by a head. Right there in third, Esker Island. Chief Terracotta's trying to come around, and Variety Road come to the top of the stretch. Still Sundecker by a neck. Lee's Tanthem trying to get to him. Chief Terracotta's not done yet. They turn for home. Into the stretch they come. They've bunched up. Lead between horses. Lee's Tanthem goes to work. Now he's driving for it. Right there, Chief Terracotta's going to try and wear him down. Esker Island is in the middle of the racetrack. Lee's Tanthem on the rail, clinging to a short lead. Far outside Variety Road. Lee's Tanthem has the lead. Number 2, Lee's Tanthem first. We have a photo for place and show. Please hold all tickets. Number 1, Chief Terracotta finished second, 6. Variety Road was third in front of 3, Esker Island. Ladies and gentlemen, may we direct your attention to the winner circle presenting the trophy to the winning connections of today's C.H.B.P.A. Invitational Handicap is Mr. Charlie Doherty Jr., Northern California representative for the Horsemen's Benevolent and Protective Association. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm welcome for Mr. Charlie Doherty Jr. In the winner's circle, here's Lee's Tanthem. He's a 3-year-old bay colt by Tanthem from Happy Holly, Florida bred, racing for Rosalind Ganoy and R. Parado, trained by Jeff Bonde and Tommy Nelson, and ridden to victory by Ron Hansen in 1:41 and 2. That's a riding triple, including a stake for Ron Hansen. It's official. Number 2, Lee's Tanthem first. 1, Chief Terracotta second. 6, Variety Road third. 2-1 exact to 83.50. Daily triple today, winning numbers 6, Classic Punch. Number 4, Blade of the Ball, and Lee's Tanthem $260 even. 642 the winning numbers, and that information is on the board in the infield. Here's the field for the Atherton. Number 2 is Gold Crest Express, racing for the Black Gold Enterprises, C.S.B.P.A and Ken Oaks. Chris Paasch, the trainer, and Vann Belvoir does the riding. 3 is Justice Swift, racing for Betty W., Judy Johnston, Don Warren, and Sherry Monroe are the trainers, and Ron Warren does the riding. 4 is Cadillac Red. Cadillac Red races for Mirage Stable and Gasworth, trained by Hiromi Uyi Mama. Ridden by Roberto Gonzalez, 1 over the weight at 115. 5 is Blue Without Bill, racing for Patricia Jenkins, trained by Guy Brown. Tim Ducey is the rider at 114. 6 is Diomedes, racing for the Camrose Farms, trained by Daryl Snow, and the rider is Jerry Olguin. 7 is Charlie's Mania, racing for the Circle K Enterprises, trained by Terry Malia, and the jockey is Ron Hansen. On the outside is Kalichi Secret, racing for James and Judith Huarte, trained by Bob Hess and Geraldo Morales. The rider is Randy Schatt. That's the field for the Atherton Stakes. It's 6 furlongs. There's 8 minutes till post. Ladies and gentlemen, it's post time. Heading for Kalichi Secret, all in the gate. 9th running of the Atherton Stakes. There they go. Kalichi Secret on the outside, going for the lead. Blue Without Bill and Gold Crest Express is right there too. Charlie's Mania in the middle of the racetrack. Here comes Diomedes. He's next. Then it's Just As Swift along the rail, and Cadillac Red down the backstretch, and they'll fight for the top end on the rail. It's Gold Crest Express showing in front by a head. Blue Without Bill, Charlie's Mania between him. On the outside, it's a Kalichi Secret right there too. Around the turn, Diomedes about length back. Just As Swift and Cadillac Red. They turn for home, and still on the rail, it's Gold Crest Express showing in front by a neck. Right there, Blue Without Bill will battle him for it. Kalichi Secret's on the outside. They swing for home. In 4th, it's Charlie's Mania. Into the stretch. On the rail, it's Gold Crest Express, a short lead. And Blue Without Bill's coming back to him. And right there, on the outside, Kalichi Secret. Gold Crest Express has the lead. Kalichi Secret is second. Gold Crest Express. Number 2, Gold Crest Express. May we direct your attention to the winner's circle. Presenting the trophy to the winning connections of today's Atherton Stakes is the mayor of Atherton, Mr. Malcolm Dudley. Mayor is joined by his wife, Mrs. Malcolm Dudley, Vice Mayor John Dinkelspiel and his wife, and Councilwoman Nan Chapman and her husband. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm welcome for our distinguished guest from Atherton. In the winner's circle is 2 Gold Crest Express. He's a 2-year-old bay colt by Gold Crest from the mare Mighty Nice Girl, Kentucky bred, racing for the Black Gold Enterprises, C.S.P.A and Kent Oaks. Christopher Paasch is the trainer and the rider. Vann Belvoir in 1-10-1. Riding double for Jockey Belvoir. It's official. Gold Crest Express first. 8, Kalichi Secret second with 5, Blue Without Bill finishing third. 2-8 Exacta, $265. Winning numbers in today's triple were 2, We're Just Bluff, 9, More Torque, and number 2, Gold Crest Express. Ladies and gentlemen, the horses are on the track, parading for the 7th and featured race, 15th running of the Grade 3 Bay Meadows Derby, $100,000 guaranteed at about 1 1/8 on the Longdon Turf Course. There's 8 minutes till post time. Introducing the field for the Bay Meadows Derby. Number 1 is Courtesy Title, racing for Gary Bazant, trained by R.V. Bazant's Thomas Chapman does the riding. In the entry is 1A, Sekondi, racing for Gary Bazant, trained by Walter Greenman, and the jockey is Roberto Gonzalez. Number 2 is Doodle's Dancer, racing for Mr. and Mrs. K.W. Warren Jr., trained by Neil Drysdale and Jim Hilling, and ridden by Lanfranco de Torre. 3 in the post parade is Aromatic, racing for the Juddmont Farm, trained by Robert Frankel, and the jockey is Robbie Davis. Number 4 is George Lehman Jr., Safe to Say. Safe to Say is trained by Leonard Shoemaker and Sergio Ledesma. The rider is Joe Steiner. 5 is Seti I, racing for David Arnold, trained by Jack Van Berg, and the rider is Tim Ducey. Number 6 in the field is Appealing Missy, racing for Madame J. Brosi, trained by Francois Bottine. Sub-trainer is Alan Severinsen. The rider is Eric Saint-Martin. Number 7 is Hyde Park, racing for the Clover Racing Stable Incorporated, 48, Foster et al. Richard Matee and Alan Severinsen, the trainers, and Ron Hansen is the jockey. Noble Doctor is number 8, racing for the High Card Ranch, and Tom Levers. Jerry Dutton and Guillermo J. Rangel, the trainers. Ron Warren Jr. is the rider. 9, Eversteady, racing for the Empire Farm, trained by Pete Gregory, and the jockey, regular rider Sam Krasner. 10 is River of Light, racing for the Lonnie Moore Stables Incorporated, trained by Christian Duman and Michel Poncelet, ridden by Corey Black. And on the outside, completing the field, is number 11, Axar, racing for Jack J. Munari, trained by Bruce Jackson and Howard Bruin, and the jockey is Gary Stevens. That's the field for the Bay Meadows Derby at about 1 1/8 miles on the Longden course. We'll go in 5 minutes. Twelve runners in the Bay Meadows Derby. We're just about ready to go. Waiting on River of Light and Axar. Here comes the last horse in the field. Now they're all in the gate in the hands of the starter. All in line. There they go. Middle of the racetrack, Noble Doctor comes away from the gate the best. Safe to say's up to challenge along the inside. Doodle's Dancer is into third. Middle of the racetrack, it's Eversteady and up between horses. Here comes a Sekondi. Sekondi's up to challenge. Hyde Park behind those. Then on the outside, Axar. Right inside of him, River of Light going up too. Back along the inside now, Doodle Dancer settling down. Aromatic is just inside of him. In tight between them, Set-Ti. Round the clubhouse turn, Appealing Missy. And they're heading for the back stretch. Safe to Say has the lead by 2 lengths. In second, it's Courtesy Title. Noble Doctor's in third. Eversteady racing in fourth, hitting the back stretch. It's Doodle Dancer in fifth by a head, right between horses. Hyde Park is sixth by a neck. River of Light in the middle of the back stretch. Aromatic full of run going up down the back stretch. Appealing Missy, the filly, begins to gain ground from eighth. Then it's Axar in a good spot with 2 beat. Set-Ti and the trailer Sekondi heading for the turn. They're beginning to bunch up. They're getting to Safe to Say. It's Courtesy Title. He's challenging on the outside. Eversteady between them and Appealing Missy's coming around horses to challenge. Right there at the rail, Noble Doctor's in the hunt too. Aromatic's got a lot of run if he gets some racing room. They turn for home in the Bay Meadows Derby. Into the stretch they come, far outside Appealing Missy. Courtesy Title's keeping that lead. Here comes Sekondi on the far outside. It's the Bazant's entry with the lead. Courtesy Title and stablemate Sekondi's doing all the running late. Here's the 1-1A gonna fight for it. The Bay Meadows Derby, Sekondi. Ladies and gentlemen, returning to the winner's circle for the 15th running of the Bay Meadows Derby is 1A, Sekondi. May we direct your attention to the winner's circle, presenting the trophy to the winning connections of today's Bay Meadows Derby, are internationally known models Allie Dunn and Charlotte Floso. Miss Dunn and Miss Floso are being photographed at Bay Meadows today for Rods of London. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm welcome for Miss Allie Dunn and Miss Charlotte Floso. In the winner's circle, here's the 1A Sekondi. Sekondi's a 3-year-old bay colt by Reb Chenise from Petit No, bred in France, racing for Gary Bazance, trained by Walter Greenman, and ridden to victory by Roberto Gonzalez in 1:48 and 4. Scratch number 1, Coax Me Clyde. Here's the field for the Bart Invitational Handicap. In the post parade, number 2 is Belfast Becky. Belfast Becky races for the Mountain High Stable, trained by Brian Webb and Mike Bray, and the jockey is Bart Snyder. 3 is Chief Terracotta. Chief Terracotta races for Marianne Hegarty, trained by Steve Weiberg, and the jockey is Joe Judice. Number 4 is Wave to Me. Wave to Me races for Eddie Harrop, trained by Dominic Foma, and the jockey is Craig McGurn. Number 5, Blade of the Ball. Blade of the Ball races for Bauman Abtahi, trained by Mel Studi, and Gary Gregory. Van Belvoir is the rider. 6 is Esker Island, racing for Steve Davison, trained by Randy Gullatt, and the jockey is Ron Hansen. 7 is Chancey Lee, racing for Jerry Hollendorfer, Arthur Mentz, and Lee Tucker. Jerry Hollendorfer and Dale Bishop are the trainers, and Ron Warren Jr. the jockey. That's the field for the Bart Invitational Handicap at 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf. 9 minutes till post time. Field of 6. All in the gate. There they go. Belfast Becky wants the early lead. Chief Terracotta's going to fight her for it on the outside. Joining those in the middle of the racetrack, Blade of the Ball. Back along the inside, Wave to Me in the middle of the racetrack. Chancey Lee, Esker Island races on the fence. They head under the wire the first time, and Belfast Becky, she's hard into the bit, keeping it 3/4 of a length. Chief Terracotta second on the outside. Racing widest of all, Blade of the Ball. Around that turn, Esker Island scooted up at the rail. Wave to Me between them, and Chancey Lee's in a good spot at the back of the pack. Heading for the backstretch, the Belfast Becky pulling hard on the bit. Has 3/4, only a neck now. Chief Terracotta, that's a comfortable pace for him. He's alongside and challenging. They're crawling down the backstretch. Esker Island is up at the rail. Moving out in the middle of the racetrack, Blade of the Ball. He's still next with Wave to Me between horses, and Chancey Lee settles down last. Down the backstretch, Belfast Becky 3/4 of a length. It's Chief Terracotta trying to stay with her, and they're still going slow. Esker Island down at the rail next. Around horses, Blade of the Ball. Wave to Me, and Chancey Lee's beginning to run now from the back. It's still Belfast Becky jamming it up 3/4. Blade of the Ball right there. Esker Island trying to move through at the rail. They turn for home into the stretch. They left the door open on the fence. Esker Island shoots through and he takes the lead. Belfast Becky's back to second. Esker Island's got the lead. Chancey Lee down on the pine gonna come home too. Esker Island keeping the lead. Chancey Lee, Wave to Me on the far outside. We're gonna have a race here. Heading at 4 across the racetrack at the wire. Number 6, Esker Island first. 3, Chief Terracotta second. Number 4, Wave to Me finished third, and 7, Chancey Lee was fourth. Returning to the winner's circle for the Bart Invitational Handicap, number 6, Esker Island. Ladies and gentlemen, may we direct your attention to the winner's circle, presenting the trophy to the winning connections of today's Bart Invitational Handicap is Robert and Barbara Walter, the owners of Vine Hill Ranch near Santa Rosa. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm welcome for Robert and Barbara Walter. In the winner's circle, Esker Island, 4-year-old bay gelding by Aaron's Isle from the mare Coke Solo, Kentucky bred, racing for Steve Davison, trained by Rundy Gullatt, and ridden to victory by Ron Hansen in 1:46-1. It's official. 6, Esker Island first. 3, Chief Terracotta second. 4, Wave to Me finished third. 6, 3, exacta 1:14.50. Here's the field for the Burlingame Stakes. In the post parade, number 1 is Nats Leah. Nats Leah races for George M. Warwick, the Clearview Farms, trained by James Vince, and Tim Ducey is the jockey at 114 pounds. 2 is the unbeaten Tolder. Tolder races for Paul Bloom and Jerry Hollendorfer. Jerry Hollendorfer and Dale Bishop are the trainers, and Joe Judice has the call at 118. Number 3 is Brisa de Mar, racing for Martin and Pam Wygod, trained by Dan Hendricks and Barry Trenchard. Gary Boulanger, the rider, at 118. Number 4 is the Golden Eagle Farms Classical Design. She's unbeaten in 2 starts and is trained by David Hoffman and Alan Severinsen. Tom Chapman, the rider, at 116. Number 5 is Miss Highblade. Miss Highblade races for the Desert Spring Stable, trained by Fordell Fierce, and the rider is Ron Warren Jr. And number 6, Brazen. Brazen is owned by Obie Gentry, trained by Jerry Fanning and Bob Janot. Ron Hansen has the call at 118. That's the field for the Burlingame Stakes at 1 mile. And ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to congratulate Papa Ron Warren Jr. Yesterday, Ron and his wife, Megan, became the proud parents of a Miss Highblade going in for Fordell Fierce with Ron Warren Jr., and the last one to load will be Brazen. Jockey Hansen for Fanning at 5-2. Favorite, Miss Highblade, all in the gate, and there they go. And between horses, Tolder wants the early lead, and Brazen sharp on the outside. Up between them two, going up with a rush is Brisa de Mar. Right behind those, Classical Design. Back along the rail, Nats Lee in the trailer early. No surprise, it's Miss Highblade. Around the turn, and Tolder's going to ensure a quick pace, and Brisa de Mar challenging on the outside. They've gone 3 lengths clear. Brazen's into the bit. She's off the leaders, just about 2.5 lengths in the middle of the track. Then between horses, it's Classical Design by ahead. That's Leah racing well at the rail. She's full of run. And Miss Highblade also going well from last place, 22-1. Good lively pace, and Brisa de Mar is pressing on Tolder. Tolder's down at the rail. She's getting the heat. Nats Leah's right there. Brazen's got Classical Design in the trap. Back to Miss Highblade, who starts to rally now. Heading for the turn, Brisa de Mar's going strong on the outside. So's Tolder down at the rail. Nats Leah's coming up between them, and he's got a lot of horse there as they round the turn. Miss Highblade trying to crank it up from last place. They turn for home, splitting horses. Nats Leah's doing all the running now as they swing for home. Brisa de Mar's right there in the middle of the racetrack. Tolder's back at the rail. They're in the stretch, and Nats Leah's battling battling for it. Nats Leah down in the trench, working hard to keep that lead, trying to go with her Brice de Mar, but Nats Leah is too much for him in the stretch. He draws off by 3 lengths. Miss High Blade is coming on for second. It's an upset here at 14-1. Nats Leah in front. Returning to the winner's circle for the Burlingame Stakes, number 1, Nats Leah. Ladies and gentlemen, may we direct your attention to the winner's circle. Presenting the trophy to the winning connections of today's Burlingame Stakes is the Vice Mayor of Burlingame, Mrs. Gloria Barton, and her husband, John. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a warm welcome for Gloria and John Barton. Nats Leah is a 2-year-old bay filly by La Natural from Twin Leah, bred in California by her owner, Georgia Morick, Clearview Farms, trained by James Vince and ridden to victory by Tim Ducey, the rocking chair, in 135. It's official. Nats Leah first, 5 Miss High Blade second, and 3 Brice de Mar finishing third. 1-5 exact at $257.